Well, this is an incredible story, first of all. It's tragic, it's harrowing, but it's also a story that most people don't know. We all sit through this pre-flight safety briefing. We all have heard it, and we don't realize that it wasn't always there. And so Pan Am Clipper Endeavor, this flight and this tragic accident really changed aviation, fundamentally changed it forever. And we're all safer because of this accident. And so I think we owe them a real debt of remembrance.
It was captivating watching the discovery in that clip. I wonder if you could share what was going through your mind, what that moment was like when the first images came back.
It was incredibly emotional. This is an effort that was led by an organization known as Air Sea Heritage. We worked with them along with Deep Sea Vision, who provided an incredibly advanced underwater sonar unit. And that sonar vehicle, which is autonomous, went down to almost 2,000 feet below the surface, and it came back with a hard drive filled with sonar readouts and photographs. And when we first saw the sonar imagery and saw the outline of that plane, it just took our breath away.
Tell us more about that drone, because this is technology that's typically used to search for gas and minerals. And I understand that you had just about 2 days to work with it. What was the process of actually finding the wreckage like with this tool?
Well, we went looking for this wreck in 2024 using a different sonar system, and it was really tough. Waters off the north coast of San Juan there are very rough. It was really hard going. And since then, we found a lot of material in the archives that helped us narrow down our search zone even more. And then by pure chance, a research vessel known as the Fugro Brasilis was transiting from Trinidad into the Gulf of Mexico and passing right through this search zone with one of the world's most bleeding edge sonar systems on board. And so they agreed to stop for 48 hours to do sonar surveys. This vehicle is rated to 20,000 feet. It is a huge missile-shaped object. It can go down on its own for up to 4 days autonomously. It went down for about 30 hours and scanned the seafloor in our target area, came back to the surface, and there it was.
Yeah, I've seen reports that some of the survivors were contacted after the discovery. Have you had any contact with them?
There are only 2 known survivors that are still alive today. A woman who is 102 years old. She was in her 20s when the plane crashed. She was a nurse. She actually was instrumental in opening the aircraft door to let a lot of the passengers out. The other survivor was a baby and was found floating on the surface of the water and was resuscitated by rescuers. They've both been informed that the plane has been found, and I know they were both really emotional and gratified that this wreck has finally been located.
That is just incredible to hear. I also wonder what you hope the families of those lost will take from this discovery.
There are a lot of families. 52 people drowned in and around this wreck, and so that story really echoes through time in Puerto Rico, especially. Most of the passengers were from Puerto Rico flying up to New York for Easter weekend in 1952. I hope that the discovery can give them some measure of peace. These stories where aircraft vanish or slip below the waves that are not discovered, there is with those stories a real sense of an openness, a lack of closure. And so I'm really hopeful that now that we know where the wreck is and we're able to tell this story and I think share with the public, the flying public, just how much we do owe to the events of this accident. I hope that can bring them some measure of closure, because as I said, we are all safer today because of Clipper Endeavor.
And Josh Gates, a really incredible find. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing that story. And